From Techie to Trailblazer, unlocking your IT career potential with Esther Deutsch.
So the title of my talk is From Techie to Trailblazer, Unlocking Your IT Career Potential, How to Lead from Anywhere. A lot of people think that to be a leader, you have to be given a title or they wait for leadership to come to them. You will see throughout my talk, I'm a big advocate of taking on leadership and then letting the rest follow. So I'll get started. So first, a little bit about you. You're in the right place if you're a level 1, level 2 tech, or any other IT professional really. You're wondering what's next, right? You want opportunities, you want to move forward, you may or may not have the title yet, but you're looking for ways to get there. You want to grow beyond your current role, right? And I would say that anybody who's at this conference, hopefully, likely, wants to grow. Otherwise, maybe check out another conference. I can't mention names because I'll get fired, but. So if that's you, then great, you've come to the right place. So a little about me. Tried to think of things that were relevant for this talk, but I founded a couple of not-for-profits. I love to talk, I love to speak. I have 2 books on entrepreneurship and leadership. I worked with at-risk youth at it's called a renewal school in New York City. I traveled to Belize to teach coding to young girls in tech, and I love to be involved in community leadership, building, anything connected to that. So again, there's my contact information in case you haven't already kindly accepted my business cards, you now have it there. So again, a little bit of our agenda for today, and my hope is that you take like 1 or 2 tips or skills or information, whether from someone else here or from me, because there's a lot of good insight in this room as well, to use to help you in your future. I know when you come to conferences, you get a lot of information, you're meeting a lot of people, and it's hard to sometimes like take something home, so I really want to try to give you something practical that you could use in your future to become, a better version of you, because that's really what it's all about, right? Each of us have different abilities and schools of thought, and I'm kind of the opinion, I have this weird mindset that like if everybody would just lean in more to who they are and embrace their strengths, because everybody has them, and it's a lot of what we're going to talk about. It's funny, even as I'm like going through and as I'm preparing this talk, I sometimes forget how connected, how you feel about yourself and knowing yourself, how much that's connected to your opportunities, to what comes to you, to your leadership, and how you grow in your career. It's so connected. I see it every day, and I'm still like evolving and learning myself and realizing how in sync they are. So we're gonna talk a lot about that, interestingly enough. And then how to create your dream role, how to give back to grow forward, things like that. Does that sound good? Otherwise I can try something else, but thank God. Okay, here we go. So the problem most tech professionals face, I should also say, I'm sorry, I worked for an MSP for almost 11 years before joining the team at Net at Work, which now I went to the dark side and I'm a vendor, which is so funny for me because I still consider myself an MSP at heart. It's part of my identity. I think it always will be. Thank God, I do love you guys. You need some help, but I love you. But I've worked for an MSP for about 11 years, jumping around into different areas. I started out there as a student while I was in grad school studying social work, which is how I worked with the at-risk youth and all that part of my life and the nonprofit stuff. So I get it, I've seen it, I've worked in it, I've hired it. And then now I'm on the vendor side for about the last year and a half with Net at Work. And real quick, we help MSPs in line of business, so ERP, CRM, HR, systems like that, just to give you an idea of the connection. So anyway, problem most tech professionals face is tech skills get you in the door, right? But what gets you to the table? What gives you that leadership role? I've worked with techs my whole life, and I love the analytical skills that many of them have. I love the attention to detail. I love the thoughtfulness, because clearly I'm not that. And so it's actually a really good synergy. And my thought is always that the technical people need to learn a little bit more big picture, high level, long-term thinking, right? Like sometimes get out of that little micro bubble. And the others, like myself, need to lean in a little more and think things through and have more analytics and have more attention to detail. So a lot of times techs are experiencing burnout from tickets and task overload, right? You're always on. You don't necessarily have visibility or mentorship in the roles that you are. You're unsure how to grow, right, when you're not in leadership. And you might be struggling to communicate your value. Is this something that anyone here has ever experienced or feels like they're experiencing any of these? Amazing. Thank God I don't need to change this talk. Okay. For real though. Thanks, Bendy. The Trailblazer mindset. And again, I'm going to tell you, like I was the biggest skeptic. I didn't believe any of this actually mattered. I didn't believe women had certain issues in tech before I entered into it. I was like, this is all, everybody's just saying this so they have an excuse to get out. It's not really the case. I can't tell you how much Trailblazer mindset. I've learned this too with money. Your mindset matters. The way that you think about yourself and your opportunities and your company and the way that you present matters. It matters. I was just working, I do a lot of career coaching now and I help a lot of people find jobs, and I was just talking to this person, and the way that he talks, I'm like, you're not gonna find a job. Yes, you're not gonna get there, you're not gonna get to leadership. And if you start to be in tune to some of the ways that people communicate or express themselves, and I'm not even talking about just words, you'll see what I mean. Like something that I did starting out as a student, I always showed up as leader. I always put on a suit and jacket. I was working in New York City at the time. I loved it, like loved corporate, but I wasn't a leader, but I acted like a leader. And I always said, like, you want a title, you want a high salary, like present yourself as such, like show up, like the way that you smile, the way you interact, like all your coworkers or your community, like do something to get there, take it on. And that's something that I've always embraced in life, and I think it's part of the reason I've gotten to where I am. And it's, again, you'll see more practical tips on how to get there, so I'll stop talking. But mindset really matters. You need to see yourself as a leader. It doesn't matter what your title is. Throw that out the door. Every single person in this room is a leader and has the ability to lead in some way or another. In some way or another. Hello. So one of the things that I did too, so my first job at the MSP, I was actually the procurement manager. I was the first one in that role in the company. Created it, trained someone else, hired them, moved to another area of the company, created the process, documented everything, replaced myself, and kept doing that through multiple parts of the company. Loved it. But something that I did that I think really helped was I was always thinking bigger picture, right? Like I told you, this is my biggest flaw, but also something that's a strength. And I was always like, all right, like this person needs a computer. And like, I won't tell you about the times that I physically carried the computer through Manhattan because I delivered it to the wrong address, right? Like all the mess ups, because that's another thing I would say as far as leadership and something that I learned. You have to stop being afraid to look bad, to fail. Like you're never gonna get anywhere if you care what people think, right? Like you just won't. You have to leave that door. You have to stop caring. You really do. You have to stop caring. They're gonna fail. Like just be like, yes, I'm gonna fail. Even in your job, you're gonna mess up. Your managers know that, they expect it. The key is to keep going and to keep learning and to not make the same mistake 3 times. Twice is even okay, I've been told once in a while I can make it 3 times, but after that, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so try to see big picture. That's the point of this slide, is really just to have a certain mindset where you're not just the tech guy. You actually are possibly the most important person, but you have to see yourself as that and present as such. You are more than a tech person. When you're talking to your client on the phone, so I came from a social work background. So for me, picking up the phone, solving tickets was like a joke. I was like, give me all your hard clients. That's not hard, These are normal people, So start to see yourself as more than that. You have an opportunity when you've got someone on the phone, they're frustrated, you get to not only solve their problem, like make their day. It's little things repeated over and over, little connections, not just going to a conference, but reaching out to people after that set you apart, that are gonna give you the leadership that you're seeking. And it's not, people are also like, oh, but I want this title, I want that. Like, just keep doing what you're doing, lean into who you are, do little things every day to make a difference to the people in your little circle, and that impact is gonna keep going and going and going. Like, I see it every day, and it matters, and you matter, and it's the more that you see how much you matter and believe it, the more other people will also, but you can't do it for the other people. You gotta keep leaning into you. So, you can tell I have a social work background, right? But I promise the social work came after. So I love this one so much. If you take nothing else, take this one. Leadership isn't a promotion, it's a practice. Everybody waits, sorry, you do, I appreciate you. Everybody waits for a title. Like they wanna be a chief. Who cares? I'm not gonna use other language here because Mendy will kick me out. But it doesn't matter what your title is, right? It's a practice. Start acting like a leader. Do things. I actually had a coach back in the day. He used to say, he's like, are your employees the paperclip effect? And I was like, what's the paperclip effect? Of course, he knew I was gonna ask. And he's like, when you have an employee, do they walk into the office, they see something on the floor, do they pick it up or do they walk right past? He's like, that's the paperclip effect. And it made me think every time I hire somebody, what type of person is this? The type of person that's gonna stop. And now every time I see something on the floor, I'd like to think I would have done it before, but I'm like, 50 people walked past this piece of paper and didn't think to pick it up. Who cares that it's not your space? Who cares that you're not the janitor cleaning it up at the end of the day? Do something for the people, Anyway, so ways to lead right now, right? Wherever you are, no matter what your stage, no matter what your title, anticipate needs and bring ideas. Speak up, volunteer. I'm on multiple boards, I always have been. And I also hate when people like look for, because we'll talk about networking events and things to do and ways to get involved, and people are like, but I'm not a this. They'll see the description where it says like, for CEOs or for marketing people, and be like, well, I'm not a marketing person. I'm like, just reach out to the organizer and say, hey, I saw your event. It looks amazing. Can I join? You don't even have to say I'm not a marketer. They didn't ask, but you can. You could be like, hey, I'm not a marketer, but I'm very interested in the field. I'd love to connect with your marketers. It's like, it's that simple. 99% of the time, I'd even say 100, but I don't have the stats to back that up. They will say like, fine, come. And imagine then you meet someone and they have your next job, and because they're in marketing, they don't normally have MSPs that they meet, so now you get a lead, right? Because they're not all MSPs and they're not your people. It's just like, it's mind-blowing to me how many people put obstacles on themselves because they don't, want to take the next step and just do something. So a lot of what I do now in my role is coaching VCIOs that are transitioning from technical to other roles. So a lot of times it's IT technicians that are now moving into the VCIO, into the advisor seat. And we do a lot of work with them. We have a lot of like resources and things. And I love that because you're seeing somebody who is so focused on problem solving, and it's like the best seat. It's actually my favorite role in the MSP. If I could be any, that's what I would be, as the VCIO. Because you really like doing account management. You're really catering to your clients' issues. And it's, in my opinion, what differentiates a good MSP from a less good one. Obviously the technical skills have to be there, but the customer support is really, really important. So I do a lot of coaching. So it's how you see yourself that will project. And again, more about, you don't have to be a big boss, as they call it, to be a big deal. And sometimes the biggest impacts are made by the people in the smallest seats. And something that I actually loved about when I was younger and beginning my career, I felt like I always surprised people because of my youth or whatever else. And I had this really big opportunity to like make an impact, even though I wasn't like a CEO, because nobody expects it. Once you're a CEO, people actually expect you to do things. But if you're not, you have such a like strong opportunity to really like make some of, So stay genuine. Everything will naturally reciprocate or remove itself. Like a lot of people I see too make the mistake of looking for fame or they're not really in it for the right reasons. And like people feel that. And it's not like a one-time thing. It's something that happens over time. You build a brand without realizing it. Again, every time you step into a room, you're telling the room something about you, whether you like it or not. So you can either decide to angle that a certain way and present a certain way, or it's gonna happen to you, right? So that's in your power. Like we need to take the power back to ourselves to be the leaders that we wanna be. It's in our control. So much is in our control. And I also say too, like if someone's like, oh, I don't have these opportunities, I'm not a leader, I'm not this, I would ask them like, are you doing all the 50 things that I'm gonna give you all homework to do on these slides? And then come back and tell me that you're not getting the opportunities that you're seeking. Like there's so much in our control that we could do before we complain that we're not getting where we wanna be. And I'm speaking to myself too, I have so much more to do. So again, you don't need a title, right? Intention, action, and consistency. And this is one of my favorite quotes. I'm a big weirdo quote person. I used to have like quote offs with my family to see like who could say the most quotes, and I always won. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And this is something I also really had to learn because by nature I'm a really bad delegator. And when I ran a nonprofit when I was 18, I realized really quickly that if I wanted anything to get done, I had to figure out how to stop holding on to the reins. And I see this a lot in MSP land too, and really allow the right people to help who also share the same mission and are way better than I am at so many things. So it's back to knowing what you're good at and then being able to delegate the rest. And here it is. Look at that. Who knew? My own thoughts just came right up there. Know your value and play to your strengths, right? Your mindset is so important. So again, to make it practical, here's some things I recommend. Like I'm one of those, every time I get an insight into a career or personality test, I grab it. I want everything I possibly can do to get to know myself. And like my strengths are one thing, your strength, Andrew's strength, clearly not LinkedIn, but no, just kidding. So many other things that Andrew's good at, right? So like you have to figure out, like go home, if nothing else after this conference, and spend another like day with yourself. Like figure out, what do I love? What do I hate? What makes me happy? What makes me energetic? Like what are my goals? What are my ambitions? And I don't just mean like how many tickets you're gonna solve. Like what do you really want out of life? Because you can get that. And like you should be getting that now. And if you're not, that's a whole other story. But that'll elevate your career, not just your life. Like it's just so powerful. So some of the personality tests that I've taken and love are up there. Do it, take it if you haven't yet. If you have taken them, I recommend going back and revisiting because things could change, and also seeing like, are these still meaningful for me? Is this still who I am? And just reminding yourself of them. And there's so many that are free now to take as well. So that's just one practical thing that I'd recommend doing now. I just want to see how I'm doing on time. I have so much more to share, but I'm going to take a stop and just, does anyone have like questions, comments before we keep going? Is this like relevant to anyone?
Yeah.
Is it helpful? Okay, good. So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was waiting for confirmation.
Sorry, here it is.
Okay, I just wanted to bring up, like, because the whole idea of leadership, I feel like I have done this. It's pretty much how I've gotten to the role I am. But I see the mistakes with companies in MSPs and whatnot. Someone's showing those leadership skills and they think, oh, I have to change your entire skill set from tech to HR management because you're showing skills of leadership. And it is I take it from personal experience. It's like, I'm a tech. I'm a leader in tech.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm going to be. And when you try to switch me over to HR, managing people instead of the tech, I can't do it.
It's actually a great point that you're making. What's your name?
Jeremy.
Jeremy. And where are you from?
Pittsburgh.
Very cool. This is for everyone else too, by the way, because I'm going to stalk you anyway after I told you. So, and you're with an MSP.
Uh-huh.
And your role is?
Systems administrator.
Amazing. It's such a good question because I think that you may be, I have to be careful what I say here because I don't know exactly everyone's titles and who owns what company. But you may be a product of bad management, which is part of the reason it's so important to know your strengths. It sounds like you do, like you know your lane. And that's the other thing is like part of the reason I think it's so important to know what you're good at and what you enjoy and what gets you going is because don't be in something that doesn't light you up, right? Like life's too short to do things you don't love all the time. Like yes, I know it sounds silly, but like I think also there's many jobs out there and we all could find what we love. And if we did, then we'd be not holding up the seat for someone else who actually loves to do all those things. Like I hate numbers, right? But there's someone else out there who absolutely digs that. So if I'm wasting time in a numbers seat, I'm not happy myself and I'm taking up that seat for somebody else who needs to be there. And someone's taking my seat where I need to be. So sometimes it's a situation where you're in, I don't want to say like, you know, every leader has issues, but like bad leadership where they don't understand this concept and possibly education. Sometimes at some point, eventually you got to just move on. And that's part of why, sorry.
Well, in my company, there was a whole conversation, and that because we were small and growing. So it was just, okay, there's a position for this role, you would fit this position for now. But we have since pivoted and now those people in a management role who actually, that is their desire, that is what they want.
Again, it may be a
And
situation.
I'm in a technical role, I'm a leader in tech, I help all my other techs.
Yeah.
And it's what I want.
Yeah, well, it's like you are already a step ahead that you know what you want and you know, so again, it may be the right person, wrong environment. Like, and that's something that you can only know if you're in touch with who you are and what you're able to do. And you don't, like, for some people, being a jack of all trades, I might be biased here, is something they want to do and they actually want to be involved. And I had to look for an employer who appreciated that I wanted to come to a conference like this, even though it's not technically in my job description. And they do at my organization now, right? They're like, you should go, you should go. So, yes, Mendy. Sorry, did that answer your question a little bit? We could talk more after, but.
So just because I'm of the opinion there's always another side to the story, right?
Yes.
Just to throw another twist to that, like it could just be a matter of they don't realize, like your leadership doesn't realize if you don't want to do that. And I don't know if you've had that conversation with them or not, right? But like it's one of the things that you have to consider, or especially like growing.
When I had the conversation with them, they will surprise. They were like, oh,
because
I'm sorry, I thought this was what
hear
you
leadership, they see, oh, okay, that's a leader, okay, we'll put you in a manager position, right? And they don't realize that, no, you want to be in a specific tech leadership role, and so you have to have that conversation.
So actually, before I take more questions, I have a slide about this. I usually hate slides, but I was like, these are really good slides. There's so much, and maybe we could just skip to, because I think we're not going to have enough time. There's a talk about, I think it's this one. There's a slide about like, you have to communicate. Once you know your goals and ambitions, you got to communicate that to your manager. I hear that a lot too, and same with getting a raise. Like, the number one reason people don't get a raise, anyone know? Exactly. You have to tell them. And I'm always like, they're not going to reach out normally. I actually have seen this. I have a friend that this happened to where they offered her, she even asked, and they offered her like way more money, and they continue to reach out to her with raises. Great. If anyone wants a job, I'll share after where it's at. Although she's incredible and she works really hard, but still. It doesn't normally happen. Like, they're business people, right? Their agenda is to run their business, is to be as profitable as possible. They are not, I'm sorry, they're not there for your best interest. They are, but they're not, right? Like, their bottom line is to make money. Your bottom line is to whatever it is. They need to know that. They need to know, like, that's part of knowing your worth and advocating for it. Know your worth and advocate for it. Don't miss the second step. Like, you got to be on top of them, right? I don't care what you tell them. Like, I have rent at the end of the month. I've had to do this over and over, and it's like public speaking. It gets better and better. The more you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, you get better and better used to it, and people start to look at you differently. That's the key, because you know your worth, and you're making sure that you don't just know it, but that you stand in it and that you advocate for what you're supposed to get. So it's a great point. It's right. Again, there's some slide about it somewhere, but they're lost in my slide mess. So before we close that out, you good? Someone else here had a question. Dax, yeah.
What recommendations do you give to people that are still trying to figure out, like,
what they want to do?
What they want to do.
I'm figuring this out every day of my life. I have no idea what I want to do, but I also know exactly what I want. You know, like, it's a constant evolution, I think. I think we all, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people don't necessarily go into this field thinking, I never thought I'd be in MSP land. In fact, before I took the job at MSP, I literally was like, this is really not what I want to do. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And I told my then to-be boss, I was like, I just want a 2-week trial, and if I don't like it, I'm out. Like, I had him sign it, because I had come from a bad situation, and I was like worried about getting into another one, bad boss, whatever. He's like, okay, cool, because he knew that I would actually love it, which was smart of him, right? And it's about finding the right people. But you don't ever really know, and I think it changes, and that's part of the beauty. It's like an opportunity, and again, it's a mindset of how you see it, and you don't get stuck or feel bad, like, even if you're doing something that you don't love, knowing that it's just another piece of your journey, and take in as much as you can from it, because it'll help you in your next piece of the journey, if that makes sense. So it's like a great point, because I think you just never really, it's like life and growing. We're always evolving if we're growing thinking people, which I think everybody in this room is, which is why I'm so happy to be here. But like, it's always evolving, you know? And the key is just not to stop, not to be complacent. And even when you're happy to like keep growing within their certifications, especially in this field, there's so many opportunities. And even growing your network or like on LinkedIn, I mean, I think probably the reason I'm here is from my LinkedIn, I don't know. I'm still not sure why I'm here, but if it works out, that's why probably. So, and again, like I don't do LinkedIn for my job. I've always been building it since I was 12. I had a resume when I was 5 that said like camper of the year, you know, that was my job. Like for real though. And then every time I got like a better job, you know, I would keep like taking the bottom one out and like continue to upgrade. Like that's how it is. It's like small steps in a positive direction make a big impact. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna keep going a little bit, and then if anyone has more questions, can't you tell I love to talk? So good job, Mendy. I'm gonna go back and then go forward, because I think we spent a lot of time on this. So this is a little bit what I was saying though about using your voice, right? Like you need to also express what you want, or you can't blame people for not giving it to you. Like that's how I feel. Same in relationships, in life, and family. You only could complain after you ask, maybe after you ask 2 times. So here's a big one. I feel like this is big because it's like MSPGeekCon, right? Community, and everyone talks about community, and it's just like this big idea, and it can be really overwhelming, even for me. Like start small, make 2 good connections. Don't worry about coming to the conference and listening to a few talks. Like, don't listen to me, you know? Like go meet, like Dax clearly is like growth oriented, right? He's here, he's wanting to be better. Like that's the type of person you want to connect with. Go after and be like, hey Dax, nice to meet you, connect. I don't care if he's a competitor. I don't care where if he's gonna be your future boss or you're gonna be his, it doesn't matter. Just make a couple of connections that are like good people, that are growth oriented, that elevate your mindset, and you're golden. And do that over and over and over at every event you go to. Don't also like chase people. I see that a lot with jobs too. Like you're not desperate, even if you need a job. You could always, there's always something to do. And I say this, you know, like I understand people's situations are different, and if you're not in a position where you're, you know, needing a paycheck every day or whatever, like great, and you're blessed, and I get that. But at the same time, like I feel like a lot of times that desperation, it repels people, or like it keeps you from getting where you want to go. And that's why the best time to update your LinkedIn or look for a job is now, when you don't need one, if you don't need one. But don't wait. Like building connection, building community, everybody waits till they need something. That's way too late. Like you're here now, you know, in your role, and that's an opportunity that like you don't want to miss out on. So let's see if I get some practical tips. I didn't realize how much like content I had in here. Gosh, I can't express this one enough too. upgrade your circle. Your circle determines your ceiling. It really does. Like, are you surrounding yourself? And I don't just mean here at the conference. I mean, like, when you go home and you go out to the bar and you go out with your friends, who are your people? And I'm not saying you don't need a balance. You do. I got my party friends and I got my elevation friends. And I got some who have a little of each. And I'm not saying which one I am. I'm just saying, like, you need circles of people who lift you up. A lot of my friends, especially back when I was younger, are the age of my parents, okay? And I don't care. I relate to them in certain ways more than my friends my age and vice versa, right? Like, I want to be with people who are elevating the room, who are moving forward, who are forward thinking, who are ambitious, who are motivated, who are driven. And again, I don't just mean in career, it's very related. The people that are growth oriented, that are looking to be better, that don't judge people by what they look like or what their title is, but they look for people with similar goals and ambitions and values, value driven. So take a look at your friends. I'm just saying, everyone's got the one friend. I'll just stop there. That maybe like you should hang out a little bit more with your other group for 60% of the time and 40% with your party time and not the other way around. So think about that. And that's back to investing in relationships, not transactions. I think another reason that I got to the doors that I got to, and hopefully will get to, I just don't really care, and I've said this before, but it's so important, people's titles or where they are. Like, I spent half my life networking and being friends with MSPs as we were an MSP. And I was lucky. I was in a company and community where they embraced that, and they also didn't see competitors as competitors, but collaborators. And that's, again, partially because I picked that. When I took my job, I saw the job description, all the attributes they were looking for, and I was drawn to that. And I told them that, and they were drawn to me for the same reason. I went through 3 rounds of KGB interviewing. I still, to this day, yell at my boss, like, how did I ever get this job? And I had 0 qualifications, but they were attracted to the similar mindset and work ethic that we both had. So look for people similar to you and also a step ahead. Like, push yourself. Go deep, not wide. Make yourself unforgettable. One real ally opens 100 fake doors. I think I talked about this a little bit. It's also a whole other topic, but creating the job you want. I've probably always created my own role since forever by accident, but I guess it worked out. Try and be curious, ask questions, whatever your environment is, there's more to learn. Speak to coworkers, like, take another step, a small step, like, hey, how was your weekend? Maybe you're doing that already. But learn a little about their role. Like, you never know how it could help or how it could help you identify opportunities. Try not to be so stuck in like a niche mindset. And this is back, Jeremy, right? This is back a little bit to what we were saying, like, build your dream job backwards. Like, first, it's about you. It's not about the organization. Like, what do you want? What do you want to get out of a role? And there's many ways also to get to the same destination, but like, take ownership of who you are and what you want. And if you're in a job where you're not getting what you want out of it, even if you're the CEO, then like, do some calculation. Don't stay there, and talk to the people above you. And if they can't help, then maybe you need to make a change. Don't stay where you're not happy or living your best self. So we all need to be like living at our best, and then this world's going to be even better. And then once you figure that out, so reverse engineer it, seek mentors in that lane, even if it's not within your own company. You can reach out to people and others. Volunteer shadow, can't recommend that enough. And again, tell your manager your goals. There it is. Here's some ways that you could give back, some things that I've done and do to create opportunities through service. So I'm a big service person. I love volunteering. So something that I hope to impart to you all, but teach what you know, right? That's why I'm here. I have just as much to learn from all of you as you do to me, but I got the opportunity and I wanted to give back. So that's something I recommend. Again, don't chase clout. I don't know about you, but has anyone been to a networking event ever? Have you seen the ones with the cards, like just like me, like just like, hey guys, take my card, saying, oh, what do you do? Oh, take your card, right? Like, it's annoying as anything, and it's just not productive for them or for you. And you know who's authentic, you know who's really there to help. So service opens doors that money can't. And the other thing, and I have a slide about this too, but mentorship. I find it so funny. I feel like people look for someone who they think is like ahead of them, and then they ask them if they could be their mentor. I have like such a problem with this. Mentorship is important, but it's a give and take. You should be mentoring someone else and also have a mentor, right? Like, everyone has something to offer and something to give. There isn't this like hierarchy of like mentors and mentees. When people ask me like, oh, can you mentor me? I'm like, well, tell me about you. Like, what are you gonna give me? Like, let's talk about this. But anyway, whole other story. But speak also, like each of you have depth and expertise. Go talk about it. Even if you're not gonna be a speaker, it's not comfortable for you. You know something that I don't, even if it's about like Star Wars, right? Like go give a talk in the Star Wars community. It's really good. It really helps like you build yourself, your confidence. It's good for your future. And when you lift others, you rise too. Can't say it enough. Here's mentorship is about hierarchy, it's about exchange. It's so amazing how I'm thinking something and then it just comes up on the screen. It's almost like I made these slides. So mentors give advice, sponsors open doors, allies speak up when you're not in the room. You want people that are thinking about you even when they're not talking to you, right? Seek them, but also be one. Ask questions. People love to answer when you're in networking events. And again, that's a whole other topic. One of my books is about like networking and leveling up, and it has more information about like how to network effectively and what to do and how to talk. But offer your perspective. Like I said, everyone knows something that someone else doesn't. And growth is mutual. You grow by doing too. Oh, and be visible on platforms that matter in industry. I learned this today, like right before this talk almost, that not everyone has LinkedIn. So get on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn. Even if you don't do anything, although, again, you should do something, and that's another talk. But like, start getting out there. It's good to know what's going on in the industry. Like, that's what I'm not an MSP, right? But I still want to know, like, what are MSP issues? What are they dealing with? Like, look for information outside of just what you're dealing with now. It'll help you. Even if it's to help everyone around you. Maybe you're just learning for someone else. Like, that's fine too. We could do things for other people. Novel idea, I know. Another thing, imposter syndrome. Again, I think so many of us get in our own way. I see it all the time just listening to the way people talk about an idea or thing, right? Imposter syndrome is a liar. Like, you belong, you're here, you got this role. So whatever happened before, like, you're meant to be here. I'm meant to be, or you're meant to be here. And you need to see that for yourself before anyone else believes it of you. If you don't think you're worthy of it, no one else is gonna see it either. And why should they, to be honest? Why should they? So stay humble, but never small, right? Acknowledge what you don't know, but don't downplay what you bring. Like, even if you're not the CEO, you bring something else that they don't, you do. Like, you have a perspective that they don't. You're in the grind, you're working with clients, so share that. And when people say, I love this one, like, oh, I'm just a technician. I'm just a this, I'm just a that. Many just peoples became great, right? Like, you're not just anything. You're so much more than that, and see that for you, and others will too over time. What else do we got? More about advocating for yourself. So, everyone loves stories. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I do want to take more questions, but a couple of things that I've got to experience that I mentioned in the beginning. The alopecia one, a lot of people don't know. Happy to talk about it more, if anyone wants to hear more about it at some point. I feel like my first lesson in leadership was at 18 when I founded my first or second nonprofit. It was crazy. I was running events for people like 10 times my age out of a basement while I was in college. I still don't know how it happened. I was horrible for sure, a horrible leader. Like, I learned so much about what not to do from everything that I did. But at the end of the day, I grew from it. It threw me out of my comfort zone. I was young and dumb, but I learned a lot. So, and again, you have to choose courage over comfort. Like, you have to be like, go skydiving. I did that. I woke up one day like an idiot and was just like, oh, I need to go skydiving today. And I went skydiving, and I like did not tell anyone because I knew they would all try to dissuade me. And I did not invite any of my friends because I was like, I want to do this because I want to do this. I don't want to be like, oh, maybe I did it because I was with my friends. And then I got rained out, and like an idiot, I went back the next day. So I was like, I need to do this while I can. I was like, is this a sign? And I was like, no, this is a sign that you need to just push harder like the rest of your life. So I went back next day. I forgot, I should have brought pictures of skydiving, but happy to share them upon request. But do it, like, do something that scares you. I try to do something that scares me, I don't know, as often as I possibly can. This may or may not be one, no, I'm just kidding. But do it, because again, and it's in your personal life, it'll translate over to your professional life and vice versa. Even at work, doing something you're not comfortable with, volunteer for something. Like, it sucks, but you just gotta keep doing that, and then you'll be better for it. You don't need a perfect path, you just need purpose, very true. All right, game plan, here we go. I would say here's the fun part, but that's so offensive. Come on, that was all so much fun, right? Okay, here's your game plan. Identify your superpowers, right? Know what you're really good at, and I don't mean that, like, get nitty gritty. Like, maybe because in the past you might have looked at your own strengths in a certain way. Like, go back, now you're an adult, you're more mature, you have more life experience. Like, look at every piece of your role and see, like, what am I doing now, right? What do I really love doing and what do I don't? And even if it's not in this job, keep that list for the future so when you look for your next job, you know what to start with. Find allies and mentors, lead from any seat, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. Every time you pick up the call for a ticket and you say hello and goodbye, you have an opportunity to make an impact on the person on the other line, and they should be doing the same thing for you. But do it, use it, because over and over that matters. Speak up and start small. Say yes to something that scares you. Go skydiving, or whatever. And that's the other thing. Like, I fail. And I almost have like a I don't care mindset where it's like, if you are going to hire me and you don't expect me to fail, like I'm not in the right role. Like I'm just like, I promise I'm going to keep going. I'm going to figure it out. Like I will figure it out, right? We're all techs. Well, some of you, not me, clearly. Thanks, Andrew. But yes. So some action items before the weekends. Here's some ideas of things you could do. If you have other ideas, I'll ask you to share them in a minute. So maybe somebody else can learn from them, but there's so many things that you could do practically to become more of a leader. And documenting and writing things down, again, it depends how you learn. For me, that really helps me, like even look back, like I'll save notes. I'm like so weird, I have all these notes and emails to myself with like dates, because it's really amazing when you look back and you see your growth, even if it's just like, you know, scribbles or writing. And it's more than career, like see your career as more about the legacy you leave, because everything you do does have an impact in your life, not just your career. Like they're very intertwined. Don't have to be the loudest in the room. Don't have to wait for permission. I'm a big proponent. Has anyone read the book Quiet by Susan Cain? Amazing book. And I have a feeling, again, I don't have the data for this, but especially for techs, it's all about how the world is really geared for extroverts. Believe it or not, as an introvert, extrovert, I really related to the introverted side. It's all about how you can get ahead by being kind of quiet. And I've always connected with the silent leader idea. And I think the world is waking up to it more, but anyway, book recommendation. You just have to start and stay consistent. Again, I'm a big proponent, small steps over time lead to big results. Like, you don't need a title, you don't need to do a lot, little things over time that you stick with. And I hate that I'm not qualified. Never ever say those words ever to me, ever. But I'll still love you, but never ever say those words to anyone, ever. I am not qualified. You can get qualified, you could learn, you could get qualified for something else. It's just not helpful. Some resources, so hopefully nobody will kill me for this, but I do have a group for people who are looking for jobs just to help. I get no benefit, never have. I mean, I love having it, I get benefit that it's altruistic, I guess, but I just created it. It's growing, it has over 500 members, and people have found jobs through it, so that's why I keep going. I also created 2 networking groups, a virtual one in person. Everyone is welcome, share it, come. We had our in-person one. I live in South Florida, I'm near Miami. We had our last in-person one on Thursday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Thursday night, we had like 300 people, just word of mouth. Again, side hustle. But true story, my job now, I got through that group. The CEO attended, and he reached out to me after, and obviously the rest is history. But he actually came to the event yesterday, or Thursday. It was a very full circle moment. So this stuff works, but that is not why I do it, and I would do it regardless. And then those are my books that I have on Amazon. The Invisible Entrepreneur is I co-authored. It's like a little bit more interview style. My most recent one is the networking one, which has a lot of this and some other practical tips on networking. Again, the money goes to charity. I don't benefit in that sense, but I just like to share. So this is my contact information. If anybody wants or didn't get my lovely business cards yet, just leave it for a second. And of course, our terrific sponsors. We need to leave them up there. We couldn't do this without you all. I'll go back to my contact info. Okay, questions, comments, feedback. Your name is Justin. Hi, Justin.
Can you go back like 2 slides?
Yeah. Come on, you gotta give me a harder question than that, Justin.
One more.
Oh.
So a couple of these things, like the thought process as a leader in my company and leader in life and
Yeah.
everything. When you're looking for a mentor, you need to show initiative and want them to help you.
100%.
And that is a lot of like what the mentors that I have in my life or have had. They've helped me so much, but it's because I've shown interest, I've shown initiative, and when they gave me advice, I acted on it, and that could be what they get out of it. and I guess on your second one there, share one idea. As a leader, I love people that bring me ideas, but I also love people that bring me like solutions to those ideas that they have. And somebody that just constantly comes up and says, we need to fix this, we need to fix this, it's gonna annoy me more than it's gonna help me.
You make amazing points. If I had a rule back in my old days, and I still keep this rule, but I made it up myself, and now I think it's a rule that everyone should adopt. I always bring up issues. I never bring up an issue without a solution. I always think before I say something in a meeting or in public, and I want to say something, so say a lot. But think about it. Am I offering a solution? What do I want the outcome to be? Don't bring up problems just to bring up problems. I saw this a lot also in because a lot of times level 1 techs are disconnected from leadership and vice versa, which is a problem in of itself, but separate story. Don't bring up a problem unless you're bringing a solution, and do both, right? Because then you're a leader. So, and the same with what you said about mentorship, it's so true. Again, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I need a mentor. And then I realized that, every person, some people, no one's perfect, obviously. I love perfect people, but they don't exist. I had to learn that. Everyone has strengths or not. So you also need multiple mentors, just like friends, for different things, right? You need don't forget your 60-40s, right? Your parties and your fun, and then your level up people. So it's the same with mentors. Different people give you different things. And so I think you make a great point about that. And you need to come with something also. And you should, because it's a give and take.
I guess I'm more getting to coming with something can just be showing your initiative,
totally
for the mentor on the side of things. It doesn't mean they can get value out of helping somebody that they know is actually growing.
Is using it, not just wants a mentor.
Yeah.
100%. No, it's amazing. Dax.
What tips do you have for people who struggle with their humbleness getting in the way of advocating for themselves?
I would say it's not real humbleness, but that's another story. That's a good question. Anyone have thoughts on that? It's a good question, and I'd have to think about that one. What do you say? I'll just repeat the question. What do you say to somebody whose humbleness, in quotes, because I would say it's not real humbleness, gets in the way of them getting ahead? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I guess for me, humbleness would be lack of confidence.
Yeah, I would probably agree. It's a good point.
I mean,
We're humble because, or at least me, because sometimes if I'm not extremely well versed on something, I won't even speak up.
Yeah, I see it a lot with my level ones, just trying to advocate for themselves. They struggle with it because they're trying not to, I guess, step on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
Things like that. So they're trying to be, I guess, humble.
Yeah.
The aspect of, more inclusive of everybody without trying to, pigeonhole somebody or whatever. And it kind of leads to that. They're not advocating that they were the one that fixed the problem versus,
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
It's such a good question. I think also that's an opportunity where if you're not in leadership, you have an opportunity to build someone up next to you. Really, the leader should also, and maybe that's your role in this case, but the people next to you, imagine what it would mean to that person if they were because they kind of relate and they're in the same space. If they were oh, I see you're trying so hard, you're doing amazing, you have it in you, keep going. We need to do that for the people. Choose someone in your organization or team that you could just give them some hype, give it to them. They deserve it. They're working day in and day out. But it's a really good point. And I think the leadership too, these people also, some environments foster you to be leaders. And I was really lucky at a young age that I had horrible leaders, but I had some really good ones who pushed me and saw things in me that I didn't know yet I had, with the nonprofit, and pushed me into leadership. So I think it's partially as a good leader, and we're all so busy and we're just responding, but we need to proactively look out for the people. And I could say that my manager now, she's so good at that. She's well, what do you want? What's your goals? I want to help you get there. She even said to me on my first day, if this is not what you want, that's not what I want either. Don't even feel, which is crazy. I've never heard a manager say that. Cause again, of course her motive is, money or whatever, but clearly she also cares about me and my goals, so I don't know if that's an answer. It's not really, but it's a good point. And then I think they might need to do some self-work as well, on, that's the thing too, though, because you could have all the best leaders, but if they don't see it in themselves, you could get help to see it in yourself, but if they don't see it in themselves, honestly, they're never going to get there.
I find too that it's tough to really impart that on people if they're not able to really make it themselves. No matter what you tell them, is not going to force it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I'm telling all you now, go home and believe it. Now you see the other side, right? People believe in you, and if they don't, you're not in the right environment, and you will get there. But anyway, I know we're running short on time, and this kind gentleman in the back had a question, and I saw you did too. But there's so much more to say about this. I don't want to cut short. No? Good?
It was in the comment.
Oh, yeah, please.
Humble, right?
Yeah.
It's good to be humble. I think how it is. Most people presents to me a moment I don't want and I want to someone said step on. Yeah. So you're not being, so you shouldn't feel like you, to get ahead yourself, is not also the same thing. It's
No, it's totally different. Yes.
two separate things. Be bettering yourself is bad.
It's a really good point. Another thing that is the scarcity mindset versus abundance. And you see it all the time in business. I've seen it, I've watched it from a distance, and I'll run. It's the same people who see competitors as competitors and not collaborators, and it matters in your role. We need to stop seeing people by titles. And it's why, back in the day, I think at conferences, they used to have titles on the badges. I'm like, what's the point? It's like looking at people based on their money. Today they're this, tomorrow they're that. And if they are this, they should be helping the people that are that, right? So we're all the same, right? We all have goals, and we just need to figure out what we all need and help each other get there. And we'll all get what we want. So, sorry, you had a question. And then, okay.
Mine was a little different. I don't think it's humbleness. I think you can be good at something and not love it. And so maybe they feel that there's no career path, or they don't want to be rewarded for that behavior. So do you have a culture in place that's rewarding that behavior? Do they see a way out of that? Is there a way that, that it is a rising tide, that it can continue to help and support it versus, well, yeah, I did it. Okay.
I feel like we could do, sorry.
Drawing into a people saying that, and then maybe the people they work for, they're just not comfortable on that, on that scale of discussion. It could be, and I'm sure each one is thinking, yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, good work.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we have a whole other talk on culture, which is that was also part of my role at the MSP, was building the culture. And we created a team of crazy high achievers, for good and for bad. Most of them are all still there, and they're like my family, like all my hires, but it was wild. But it's amazing when you get the right people in a room and the right seats. It's so powerful. I know people talk about this, but I've seen it. And same on the nonprofit side. And it's never about the money. It's about the goals and shared ambitions and values. And then it's also about the people. If they're not there themselves or getting there, then it's hard. But nobody's a finished product, and everyone starts somewhere. So as long as you have the will and ambition to get better, everything else will fall into place. And a little altruism doesn't help, and caring about other people. But clearly you all know that. So anyway, I'm going to stop us there because it's lunch, and this doesn't, lunch, whatever. But thank you so much, everybody. I'm happy to chat after. Reach out anytime. And thank you for coming and participating.